Hello and welcome to Hank Green Games. Not Hank, John, manager, Wimbledon, AFC, Wimbly Womblys, Colchester, League One, Wimbly Lane. Hi. That was a great intro. God, I'm so good at this job. I am the manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, a football team that exists inside of FIFA to support an actual real-life football team, AFC Wimbledon in South London. That is my captain, other John Green, who recently just declined a contract, worrisomely, as well as his husband did, bald John Green. So for those of you who don't actually play FIFA, let me just tell you, half of the challenge of playing FIFA is that your players are constantly trying to leave, as if they don't really love you. As you can see, we are hanging on in second place in League One, the third tier of English football. We need to be in the top two places at the end of the season because those are the automatic promotion spots, the promotions up to the championship, the second tier. If we're in the third through sixth spots, then we have to go to a playoff that is very nervous-making, and we have only done it once in my Hank Games history, and I lost. So I would really like to be in the top two spots. But it is also March. We have a very thin squad, and we had European football this year, as well as some pretty significant cup runs, so we are exhausted, and that is not great for the team. So we're really struggling right now because we're tired, and, it's just really hard to have put out the same 11 to 18 players every week. We have about 18 players we can choose from. There's literally no left back to back up Callum Kennedy, so every week I'm just like, well, it's either going to be a center back or it's going to be you, Callum, so what do you want? And he just looks at me with his terrible haircut and he says, I guess, play me, boss. And then he says, can you please stop making fun of my hair? And then I say, yes, when you get a haircut. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, we're going to do our best, but like this is always the difficult part of the season for us because we do have such a weak squad. So the run-in is always challenging, particularly on world-class skill level. But we're going to do our best. Today I'm going to talk about whether college athletes should be paid. I am not an expert in this or anything. If you've watched me play FIFA, you know that I'm damn sure not an expert in FIFA. I also don't know the answer to whether college athletes should be paid, and I don't think it's clear. I do think that they should get a cut of their jersey sales, that they should be able to do paid autograph sessions. I mean, I think I am troubled, and I think most people are. I am troubled by a business that is profitable to the tune of billions of dollars, in which the people who play the games that make the money are not compensated for that. That said, I also think it's very complicated to figure out how to compensate. Some people would say they're compensated by getting scholarships to college, but that's obviously not in line with their value to the institutions. And they have to I think it makes your academic life very difficult to have to play a major college sport because at that Division I level, because there's a tremendous amount of time that's spent practicing and that's spent traveling and going to games and doing autographing sessions and whatever else you have to do as a member of the team. So I think it is work, and I think it is work that's very lucrative, and I think it's work, and I think it's strange to do lucrative work and not get paid for it. But there's also the question of this ideal that we've had for a long time of the amateur athlete doing it for the love of the game, and there's something to be said for that, and there's something to be said for the idea that these aren't people who are working supposedly. They're people supposedly who are going to college, and people in college often have jobs, but they, if once we start paying college athletes, are there going to be more and more demands on their time and less college? Now, I think, to be honest, there's already maybe not enough college. So I don't know. There are a lot of things that clearly need to happen and that are sort of scandalous that they haven't happened already, including, funds for health care, for long-term. If you get a long-term injury, and there's no disability insurance because you're not an employee of your university. Let's say that you're playing college football and you have a neck injury that results in you being disabled for life, whether it's paralysis or just you can't. There's lots of kinds of work that you can't do because of your injury. You should the college or at least the NCAA should have a way of dealing with that. They should have, and that should be true also for knee injuries, for any injury. Those expenses should be covered. I think that's clear, and in a lot of cases they aren't. And then I also think that it's crazy that lots and lots of jerseys are sold for players, many of whom won't have professional careers because because of injuries or else because they aren't they don't have the right set of talents that an NBA team is looking for or an NFL team is looking for, and so their jerseys are being sold and generating millions of dollars of revenue, and they're not being compensated in that for any way. I think that's problematic. So I think I do think that basically I think yes. I think if you're doing work for an institution that's making that institution a lot of money, I think it's very, very, very strange that all that you're getting in exchange is like an ostensibly free education. But of course, it isn't a free education. It's an education that is generating the university quite a lot more money than it's costing the university. So that to me is not free. But I also think that it becomes very difficult to figure out where you draw the line because there are a lot of college football programs and certainly a lot of other programs that aren't profitable. Like Butler University has a football team here in Indianapolis, and that is not a institution that makes the school money. So it's hard to figure out where the line is, and then I guess the other risk is that college athletics becomes an even bigger business than it already is. It becomes even more revenue driven. It becomes even more about, even less about sort of this very outdated but still I think somewhat powerful idea of the amateur athlete, and becomes more and more about money. And I think, I'm not sold on. I'm not. It's a little strange. In Europe, they don't have this idea. They don't have these huge businesses of college athletics. If you want to be a professional athlete, you go to you sign with a club when you're quite young, and then you still go to school, and you still do school stuff. But by the time university comes around, you're either you've either signed a contract or you haven't, and then you choose your path based on whether you've signed a contract, and it's that becomes your job. It's very strange that we have. Oh, it has to be, and it is beautiful ball. John Green from his husband. John Green's ball. Another John Green's. They're the best forwards that Wimbledon has ever seen. I was trying to do a trick there, but I obviously did it wrong. Anyway, thanks for the goal, John Green and John Green. Oh, I love this team, and this is great news. To be 1-0 up against Colchester is huge for us. It's exactly what we needed. It's the boost of confidence we've been looking for. And there's ball John Green. That kid has no give up in him. So yeah, I think I basically think it's complicated, but I don't think that it being complicated is a reason to continue the status quo, which is clearly unfair. Oh, ball, John Green. He gives it all for the team. Upon his mustache, we're keen. Ball, John Green. That was a beautiful little celebration, wasn't it, Meredith? Where he played the violin. To the beat of my song. Well, yeah, he knows. He knows that I'm singing his name. He knows. He hears us. He hears us when we sing. Oh, it's 2-0. This is great. This is exactly what we wanted to do against Milton Keynes, but we lost our courage. I think really the extent of the moment got to us. We never imagined We never dared to imagine, that kind of moving beyond, so far beyond that team that we'll never even play them again. We never even really have to think about them anymore. They're just a lower league club to us, hopefully in the future. And that's assuming we can get out of League One, though, which is definitely not a decided thing. That's a great move from John Green. Pass it. I was thinking of a different pass, but never wrong to go to the patron saint of lost crosses. He knows how to cross it into the box. There's John Green with that was like some weird ninja stuff right there. I'd like to see a replay of that because that did not seem physically possible. So I think I understand. I guess I understand the arguments on both sides, but I do think that it's really, really problematic to continue to offer such little support to college athletes who often come from low-income households and who generate so much revenue, so much money for the institutions they work for. I think that we need to take a long look at, is that fair? And if it's not, what is more fair? Is it more fair to, to build a huge trust fund for medical expenses and, job training, other things? Is it giving them a cut of jersey sales? Is that okay? Would it be okay, or would it be okay to just pay them a direct kind of stipend? But if so, are you going to base it on the size of the program? And then it's very complicated. So I don't know. I don't know the best way, but I know that this way is not a good way. By the way, that's Mr. Bean. He was on our team for a while, I think. Get there. Oh, dang it. I really want to win 3-0 so that our goal differential can get even better. We've got a fantastic goal differential, though, because when we lose, we usually only lose by 1, and when we win, we often win by a lot because we are the Wimbly Womblys, and when we start rolling downhill, we keep rolling. That was you're interested in that guy, Meredith. That was it was a very strange, very, very strange thing that he just did. It's sort of like a Bond villain kind of gesture. Oh, there's Leonardo Mora. Oh, that's a Mora. And there's the great Seb Brown, also with a little bit of a weird hand gesture, sort of creeping out. Hey, I love to give my players hugs. I love you guys. Yes, congratulations, Les Moore. And I like it when they give me hugs, too. It reminds me that they also love me. Maybe not as much as I love them, but they do love me. Thank you for watching. Congratulations to the Wimbly Womblys on a fantastic victory. Best wishes.